on April Fool's Day.
She whipped you for that? Did you tell your mother?
Yeah. You know, when cold stove, well, you know, cinder, and they wrapped it up in this paper. Well, when I picked it up, I thought it was candy, and I unwrapped it. So we called Miss Webster's daughter, Snooky. Her name was Miriam. I said, Snooky, you want a piece of candy? She said, yeah. She took it and stuck it in her mouth, and I kept saying, April Fool, and she just kept chewing. And she went in and told her mother, and I got a whipping. Great. Well, this first grade, that Lucille taught me, she bumped my head against the blackboard because I didn't spell this word. So I went home and told Mama, and Mama went up there and bumped her head against the blackboard to show her how it felt.
So when you finished elementary school, the 8th grade teacher was black too?
Yeah.
And when you went to high school, the first time you went to a white teacher?
And there were just 2 of us in that high school.
2 black kids?
Mm-hmm. Salome Snotty, that's Bert Snotty's daughter, and I.
You sat in the same classroom with white kids?
They did not bother us, but we had this English teacher from the South. She segregated us. I was laying in the bed the other day thinking, what? I let that woman do that. She said, Sally and I over by ourselves on the east side, and all the other kids were over here. And I just thought of it the other night.
She did that?
Yeah. And then she said to me, are you from the South? I said, no. Well, you don't talk like, colored people talk. And I guess she wanted me to be talking like her. And she would embarrass you before the class, asking thing.
Now, that was the only class you would say you did?
There was English 1 class in high school.
What did the other teachers say about this teacher?
Nothing, but I'm surprised that I didn't tell Daddy. Because in the study hall, this boy came and stood up over me. His daddy was a banker. And he looked at me and said, you damn little nigger. And I went home and told my daddy. And the next, Daddy went right on uptown. When he came back, he said, you go to school tomorrow, and Robert Reeder is not going to bother you or say anything to you. And when we had our 30th class reunion, Robert invited me to his house. I went.
He still lived in Troy?
I think he's a banker.
Yeah, at that time he lived in Troy?
Yeah. The year I graduated from high school, Bud graduated from the 8th grade.
And he went to the same high school?
No, they moved over here then. Bud went to Bartlett.
So he never went to a white school? So, who was, after Uncle Bud, who was born? Uncle Sherman? He was born in Troy too?
They all were, but Gil and Ellie.
All of them born in the hospital in Troy?
No, at home, honey.
All of them?
Yeah. I was in the room when Quinn was born and Donald.
Do you remember when Uncle Sherman was born?
Yeah. Daddy built our house That's when they all got money from Dad. And Mom took her money and they bought a
Well,
house.
he must have had a lot of Indian blood in him.
Well, he must something. Because I can remember, I don't know how much money, but they got it. And they bought this house and tore it down. And she bought this land. And Daddy built the house. Well, he didn't have it quite complete, finished. And Sherman was born that night.
So who was born after him?
Sherman and Jean.
She was born in the house your dad built?
Yeah, they all were.
And then you were born after the collision?
Yep, she was born there in Bethel.
What did she look like when she was born?
Who?
Mother.
She was the cutest little baby. And she was chubby. And I started calling her Piggy. And
so you were about 10 years old then?
Yeah. And well, I took care of him.
When she was born, they didn't go to hospital, nothing, just stayed home?
No. And then she got sick.
When she was born?
No, she must have been about a year too old. When I got smallpox, and they quarantined you in.
Quarantined you or the whole family?
The whole family.
All of you could have gotten the smallpox?
They tacked a sign on your house.
They did?
Well, Daddy would always, he'd be quarantined out, so he had to work. But he'd come in at night. So the doctor came down to vaccinate him. Already had him. And she told that doctor, my daddy don't want you scratching me with that pen. That I'm going to tell my daddy. But she was a little toughy. She didn't cry. She just talked to that doctor. The day that we were supposed to be the quarantine lifted, looked at Sherman, there he broke out. Well, the health officer comes to check you out. We took Sherman down and hit him in that head.
He didn't miss one, huh?
He didn't know how many kids was there.
How did you eat after 1929?
We always had a garden.
You grew your own food?
And Mama canned.
We had pigs, chickens. I'm gonna pick out the
Daddy had a slaughterhouse down behind our house. And he butchered for farmers.
Oh, they bought their food?
Yeah, at 3 o'clock in the morning, Daddy'd get up and go down like that fire under a big, fat iron kettle. That's what he used to scald the hogs.
So when you finally moved to St. Joe, how long after they moved here?
They moved in August and I came in
What year?
1934.
Was it hard in 34?
Huh?
Was the times hard?
Yeah, all before that too. Mama had Bethel in the afternoon. We said, huh? No, he got lost in the cornfield when I was born. But Grandma was there, and she came out and said, well, that's the last of Dice's litter, because Bethel was so little. Amos Francis we was there on the south side on a cellar door in the sun, because we was outside while he was you know. And Amos said, "You saw that bird bring that black bag." I said, "I haven't seen nothing."
Now, were your father's relatives in Troy too?
Uncle
What was your grandfather's name on your father's?
Alec.
Alec Wilkinson? Did you know his father? Your great-grandfather? Did you know his name?
I never did see it. Wasn't that Green?
Green Wilkinson.
I think it was
William
Green.
Green.
He was a Wilkinson too?
Daddy.
Your great-grandfather?
Mm.
Really? And they were all from Kansas?
They came from down in DeKalb, didn't they? But I thought they came from down in DeKalb.
Just in Kansas?
Missouri.
So your grandfather's name was Alexander Wilkinson.
Mama,
What was his wife's name?
Cora.
Cora?
She was Cora Smith. Huh?
Her real name was Memphis.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Her last name was Smith? Was she from around there too, or you didn't know?
They came from the South. Her sister, their mother was blind. Grandma's.
Your grandmother was blind?
My
Your great-grandmother?
Yeah, and Grandma had a sister, Mary. And they came to Troy. I don't know where from. But I knew that much. But you know, Mom always said she didn't want family names, her kids. And you know, when you look at it, we all have, because Daddy had a sister named Laura.
Oh, he did.
Uh-huh. And his mother's name was Cora. That's Jean.
How
And
many
then
sisters and brothers did your father have?
15.
Did you know all of them?
No, Daddy's sister Laura, she died when she was 14. The rest of them I knew. There was Uncle Walter and Aunt Maggie. Her name was Mary Margaret, and we called her Aunt Mabel. Aunt Millie and Aunt Minta were twins, Mildred and Minta. Then there was Uncle Harrison and Bruce and Mac.
Here.
Yeah, Uncle Aaron.
So Uncle Willie was the youngest?
Huh?
Uncle Willie was the youngest?
No, Mac. Matthew. Mac was the youngest, then Bruce. And then Uncle Will, I guess.
Aunt Memphis.
I don't know how.
No, I guess Uncle Will didn't have Memphis.
Did you learn to pick out herbs and stuff when you were up there as a kid? Your mother knew how to do it?
No, excuse me. Her grandmother did. Mama didn't.
Remember she put that horse race on her head and tied rags.
Yeah, that, but well, some things like that mule tail she'd give us, make tea. Now if we had measles or something, she'd give us that to make us break out.
Well, that's the grandma did that, didn't she?
Yeah.
Your grandma, that's your mother's mother?
No, my daddy's
Daddy's
mother.
mother.
What, she lived with you?
She had her own little house,
She said she...
and you'd say about 4 o'clock they'd start bringing
How did he learn to do that?
from his dad,
Oh, his dad taught him how?
I guess. And he built cisterns, wells, clean cesspools.
His father taught him those kind of things?
That. And she
Clean shoes, too.
did that.
So his father was like an artisan? I mean, he knew different kind of trades and stuff?
I guess he just knew about the wells, because Grandpa was about 58 when he died, wasn't he?
Well, who was the blacksmith?
That was Dad.